Is it still possible to earn $10,000 or more per month self-publishing your books through Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why it is. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Dane, and if you're new here, on this channel I talk all about self-publishing books on Amazon, all in entrepreneurship, and just lifestyle in general. So if that kind of thing interests you, make sure you subscribe, drop a like on the video, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. In today's video, I'm going over why it is still worth it to self-publish books through Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, and why it's still possible to make over $10,000 per month with this online business model. Without further ado, let's jump into my computer. I'm gonna show you exactly why, give you some reasons as to why it's still worth it and why it's my personal favorite online business. And I'm gonna going over some cons that go into the business and things that you might wanna consider before you jump into it. So let's jump on my computer and go over this. So as you can see on screen here, first things first, yes, it is still worth it. And yes, you can still make over $10,000 per month with this business model. And let me just show you some proof before we get into all that stuff I was gonna talk about, okay? So this was October of just like around 3 months ago, okay? So in that month, I earned over $10,000 just self-publishing ebooks and paperback books, okay? This isn't even audiobooks here. This is just paperback and ebooks, okay? This is only one income source from my self-publishing business, and I managed to pull in $10,000 in that single month. Next month, same thing again, ebooks and paperback books. In November, $11,237. And then same thing again in December, $19,127. And this is just, like I said, ebooks and paperback books. So it is very much possible to make over $10,000 a month. And Kindle Direct Publishing is not dead at all. You can earn a very healthy income every single month from this online publishing business model. Now there's some proof there. Let's jump into why it's still worth it and why you're still able to make $10,000 or more on a monthly basis with this business model. So why is it still worth it? First things first, it does not require a huge initial investment. Okay, as you can see, I put that on screen here as number one. These aren't in any particular order, but it's just kind of the way that it came to mind when I was thinking about these things. But if you're a complete beginner, even if you don't have any books or any even writing experience, you can still get into this business model, okay? When I'm saying investment there, I mean like barrier for entry as well, not just how much money you have to put into it in order to make money back. But if we're talking money, if you want to get into it as a beginner, you don't have to invest a whole lot of money compared to other online business models that can take thousands of dollars just to get into and get started with. Self-publishing, as long as you have around $1,000 to $2,000, you can get into this and you can start doing well with it. It's not going to make you $10,000 in your first month, okay? You have to invest a little bit more over time to get to that point. But if you're a beginner and you're looking to get started with this, you can invest $1,000 to get a book made. You can get it written. You know, if you don't really want to write it, you can hire a ghostwriter and get it written. So if you're going to write your book, it's not going to cost you as much anyways in the first place. But if you want to get the cover made, get it written, and start with some Amazon ads in your first month with one book, you can start with $1,000 to $2,000 depending on the niche and how long your book is going to be. That's one thing why it's still worth it compared to other business models to get into this year. And my second point was, can you go wrong with Amazon? Okay, look at this graphic on screen here. You just see how big of an online company Amazon is. And we're really piggybacking off of Amazon with this business model through KDP and through Audible, which is going to be our audiobooks, which we'll talk about in a sec. You just see how big of a company Amazon is, and it's obviously just growing and growing and growing. And the more it grows, the more our business has potential to grow selling books through it. So that was another thing why it's still worth it this year. Another thing is selling books is fulfilling and something to be proud of. This was something that's not really income thought-wise, but I found it very important because if you're doing an online business that you don't like and it's not very fulfilling for you, eventually it's just going to die out and the passion is going to roll away because you're not going to want to do it any longer. Self-publishing books, you're helping people, entertaining people through the products that you create and sell through the Amazon platform. So in comparison to other things, like I used to do Shopify dropshipping, and I remember it was just a business model that I wasn't very passionate about, and the products I was selling I wasn't like extremely proud of either. When it comes to self-publishing, it's a completely different world, and I think stepping back and building a strong foundation is all based around being passionate about what you're selling. So when it comes to self-publishing, I find that to be very strong with this business model. Another great one to consider is that it compounds bigger and bigger over time, okay? And what I mean by this is when you publish a book onto Amazon, it's on there forever, for the most part, as long as you don't get like banned off the platform or something like that. But as long as you stay on the platform and your book remains consistent and it's high quality and you built a strong foundation before you published it, and it gets reviews over time, it's going to stay on Amazon for a very long time and make you monthly income that's going to come in and in. And the more books you make, the bigger that income is going to be. So over time, it's just going to keep on growing. So that's another reason why it's just still worth it for me and why you can make $10,000 per month with this business model. Think about it. If you have one book making you $1,000, Why can't you have 10 books making $1,000 in a single month? That will make you $10,000 in a single month. That's another reason why it's still definitely worth it and why it's very, very possible to get this online business to $10,000 or more per month. And the one that I want to address here is that a lot of people are in the fiction space when it comes to self-publishing their books, and not a lot of people are taking advantage of nonfiction books. When it comes to fiction, there's a couple things that I don't love about it. That's why I'm in primarily nonfiction when it comes to self-publishing. One thing is that when it comes to fiction, people only buy ebooks for the most part, and ebooks are very cheap and you don't make a lot of money off of them. When it comes to nonfiction, people buy paperback books a lot more in comparison to fiction, where they just buy ebooks strictly and they read things on their Kindle. Nonfiction, for whatever reason, people buy paperback books. They want a physical copy so they can read it. A lot of nonfiction books are activity books, so they want that book in hand. For example, a cookbook. Personally, if I was buying a cookbook, I'd want to have it like in front of me reading it rather than just on like a Kindle so I can see like recipes and stuff. Simple reasons like that why nonfiction books sell a lot more of paperbacks. And I didn't really say it, but paperbacks are our main moneymaker compared to ebooks. Way better margins on paperbacks, and you can make a lot more money. If you're in the fiction space right now, maybe consider moving over to nonfiction and giving it a try, because I think nonfiction is still very under the radar, and you can find a lot of very profitable niches and keywords to get into when it comes to nonfiction self-publishing. And as I mentioned earlier, audiobooks are on the rise right now. People love listening to books rather than having to read them, so they can go work out or do the dishes or do chores around the house, go for a long drive, and just listen to a book rather than sitting down and reading one. And audiobooks have a very, very high potential for making a lot of money. And they're just growing and growing, getting bigger and bigger as we roll into 2021 and beyond here. So if you can get into the audiobook space right now, I feel like you're someone who's in there early, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger over time. Finally, it has potential to be passive income, okay? And I'm not going to say self-publishing as a whole is completely passive, because it's not. It's something you want to do and manage on a month-to-month basis. You can't just set it and forget it for the most part. There's some things that you can do in the business that you can set and forget. But if you want to grow over time, you have to keep at it over a monthly basis. But there are portions of self-publishing that can be very passive. For example, if you have a book that you've maybe published 3 months ago, it's now getting reviews, it's completely ranking organically for all its keywords, your Amazon ads are dialed right in for it, you can pretty much leave that and let it sell over and over and over again on a month-to-month basis and just kind of monitor things. So it has potential to be passive income. I don't want to say you can make $10,000 a month passively through self-publishing, because you want to keep growing the business over time, but you can make a chunk of that passively. So that's another bonus when it comes to getting into self-publishing for 2021. And it's just another piece to the puzzle that'll add to that $10,000 per month income when it comes to self-publishing. So now that you know all the things that I like about it and why I think it's still very much worth it to get into during this year, 2021, and why it's still very possible to make $10,000 or more per month, let's go over a few of the cons, because I don't want to just give you all of the good things and not talk about the bad, because there's obviously going to be bad things with anything. So I don't want to hide them from you. Let's go over the cons for this business model. So first things first, it's not going to make you a millionaire overnight, okay? Self-publishing is a long-term game, and I've said this a million times. Other people have said it a million times. It's a marathon, not a sprint when it comes to this online business model. You're not just going to publish a book overnight and start making millions the next day, okay? It takes time to build a solid self-publishing business, as it does with any business. Someone's trying to sell you that it's not real. All right. Self-publishing is no exception. When it comes to self-publishing, it takes compounded effort in order to make a long-term income out of it, but it is very fulfilling, like I said, so it's easy to stick with it over time. And personally, I just like working towards something. It's very fulfilling. So this isn't something that's an issue to me. It shouldn't be an issue to you. And if you want to get into online business, this is the hard truth. Nothing's going to make you a million overnight, and self-publishing is not an exception when it comes to that rule. Another thing that kind of bothers me about publishing through Amazon KDP is this is just more of a gripe. It's not a huge deal, but it is something to consider if you're getting into it. You want to have some savings to invest in your books, because you don't get paid for 60 days after a sales period. And what I mean by this is, for example, those income screenshots you saw just now, that December income, that 19,000 or whatever it was, I still haven't been paid for that amount. I get paid for that at the end of this month, end of February. So 60 days after a sales period. So another example of that is my November income there. I just got paid for that at the end of January. So it's something to consider as a beginner if you're just getting into this online business. It's going to take 60 days to get paid. So you don't want to put all your money into one book and then spend all your money on ads in the first month and then not be able to spend more money on more books in the next month if you're just getting into it, because you're not going to get paid for your earnings from the first month for 60 days after. So it's just something to take into consideration. It's not a huge deal, but I want to make sure it's clear to you so you know about it, so you're not blindsided by it when you get into the business model. We are getting pretty bright here. Sorry, the sun going crazy. Last point on this page is it can be difficult to get the ball rolling in the beginning and wrap your head around the entire concept of self-publishing. Okay, there's a lot of different pieces that go into this online business model. And from my experience, it's going to take about a month or so to really get the ball rolling and see the true potential with the business model and fully understand all the different parts and pieces that go into it. But like I said, it's very, very rewarding over time, very fulfilling, and it has the potential to make you a good chunk of money every single month. Like for my example, I'm making $10,000 to $20,000 per month from my publishing business. And it's all thanks to me starting out in the beginning slow, building up and progressing over time and getting better and better at self-publishing as a whole, and just building that income over time. So you have to think long-term with this business model. And in the beginning, it's easy to get discouraged with. So I want to make sure that's clear before you get into it. So I think it's important to know that kind of thing before you get into any online business model. And again, self-publishing is not an exception to anything. It takes a little bit to wrap your head around, but once you do, the full potential is very easy to see. And you just have to think long-term with this business model, and you can do very well. So if you've liked what you saw in this video and you're either new or you're maybe publishing right now and you want to get a little bit better at publishing and turn it up a notch and scale the business so you can earn that $10,000 or more per month with it. If you want to learn more and get into it, there's a link down in the description there. It's completely free for you to go through. It'll walk you through from A to Z, how I got started with publishing and how you can as well. So again, if you're interested in getting into this online business, or you already are and you want to do better with it, the link down below will help you with all of that. It'll give you an idea for how you can get started with it right now. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoyed my main reasons why it's still very much worth it to get into self-publishing in 2021, and why it is still very much possible to make $10,000 or more on a month-to-month basis with this business model. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you subscribe and drop a like on the video and hit the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. Try to post videos every single week. So I've been doing pretty good at that for the past few months. I'm gonna try and keep at that for the next few weeks as well. But anyways, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.